The sun sets on Maggie Valley, the Tar Heel State. Tuckered off wrangling that Deep Creek Trail to bend an elbow with a shot of whiskey. I had the Cowboys and Angels in hell in the White County, driving 2 hours to the foothills of Chattahoochee River. Clueless that this route will soon control my fate. Finding an escape where the jukebox plays Delta blues. I raise a glass, then two for the place and time I chose. A good-looking waitress caters my table with care. Laughs with other strangers, shares tabloids of the day. To twig a mystery and fold, I call her to replenish my plate. Flattering her with compliments, I feel my heart race. When whiskey reveals what the mind tries to drown, I ask her name, Rilla. She enticingly smiles, then I lift her skirt. Taking leap of the blind, guess what? A tattoo with Nazi swastika on her hip I find. What in tarnation? I scream, the guys, check please. Will you calm down? Caballero, she tries to appease. I invite her to the smoke room, better in my car. She dusts up that Mazda, the Porsche, of course.
What's your obsession with an ideology that led to a global war? Taking 85 million human lives based on a sinister Aryan tour. Hitler never intended a global war, you should study more. World War II was the logical payoff of World War I. Take a note, the first started after Princip shot the Austro-Hungarian Archduke Ferdinand. That was a trigger, not the cause. Have you heard of Immanuel Kant? His dualism was a concept of two-sided view of facts. The interpreting of wars depends on whom you ask. Kant made distinctions between phenomenal, the world as we experience it, and nominal, the world in itself, the real cause of all the way was the ripe imperialistic strain between Austria-Hungary and other European states. While Franz Ferdinand's death was a trigger, the person to blame was Queen Victoria's crippled grandson Kaiser Wilhelm II, who provided a blank check for German military support, escalating the regional conflict into a global war. Hitler fought as a soldier in World War I, a dispatch runner in a reserve infantry battalion, wounded twice. He was decorated with the Iron Cross. Hitler was also a talented artist, but that doesn't excuse his sins, his wrongs. But that doesn't excuse his sins, his wrongs.
Well, let's work on a puzzle. At 11 a.m. on the 11th day of the 11th month in 1918, the war came to an end. Kaiser Wilhelm II was forced to abdicate. The war officially ended in 1919 by the Treaty of Versailles that sliced Germany with crude humiliation, leading to another global turmoil. President Wilson's League of Nations wasn't prudent enough to consider the discontent of substantial German diaspora of the newly redrawn countries by the Treaty of Versailles. Czechoslovakia, the Baltic States, Yugoslavia, or Poland. The treaty also annexed Alsace-Lorraine to France and Eastern Germany to Poland. The natural desire of German minorities to reunite would later come to haunt Europe as an unfinished task. Forced to pay £6.6 billion in reparation to France and Britain, Germany's militaristic monarchy vanished. Then the Great Depression grabbed the world after the US 1929 stock market crash. The Weimar Republic was stricken with inflation reaching 100% a month. The German mothers would boil whatever they would find: potato peels, grass, brick pieces, extract, white dust to deceive the child's gut. In such democratic weakness, only extremist politicians could offer a ride. Hitler's coup failed. Jailed 9 months, he wrote Mein Kampf. His moment arrived. In 19th Street, Hindenburg appointed Hitler as Chancellor of the Reich. Thousands of Germans cheered with swastika flags on unter den Linden. Following Hindenburg's death, the offices of President and Chancellors, making Hitler the Führer, this opened an era of redemption where promises were kept. Next 3 years, Hitler excelled at his pledges. rebuilding economy via public works, me for bills, installing mighty autobahn and bridges. No preceding leader had ever achieved that much under Hitler's command. Streets became cleaner, lines for bread shorter, trains more punctual.
Yet secretly Hitler was boosting rearmament programs. Despite the Versailles Treaty shrinking the German army to 100,000 men, or forbidding Germany to have submarines or air force, Hitler tripled the army in 1935. He transpired to Europe his brand new air force.
Luftwaffe. Then Luftwaffe had only 5 degrees more than Britain and France combined. Unemployment plummeted and arguably the Nazi popularity surged.
But the working class met changes with suspicion.
Then why did it hail Hitler?
Desperation leaves one with no principles when stomach is empty and mind is dazed.
Desperation leaves one with no principles when stomach is empty and mind is dazed.
Middle-class small businesses and retirees, all prime victims of the Depression, were the quickest to embrace the new order. Tired of riots in the former reign, now they watched Hitler restore their dignity, people gathering in cafes on Sundays. No longer talked only about bread, they discussed the future as well.
Meanwhile, Hitler forcibly dismantled free labor unions, replacing them with Deutsche Gewerkschaftsbund under direct Nazi control. Workers celebrating Labor Day had no clue that their freedom was dying in silence. Strikes disappeared, there were no longer collective demands or wage negotiation. In schools or on streets, children learn to hail to their iconic leader. Teachers who refused to join National Sozialistische Lehrerbund resigned. History textbooks were rewritten to present the Weimar as a fleeting shadow. Mein Kampf was sold as the new Bible.
EILT became a craniometry tool to explain racial distinctions. Algebra illustrated the cost of maintaining a person with hereditary problems. Perhaps the frailty of any democratic governance is a problem.
Explain.
It skews toward the weak by demonizing strength. Instead, it could empower the weak by an example of strength. It downplays diseases and treats health. It fights the reality of two genders. It makes people talk more, work less.
Now you two are loquacious, risking arrest.
Slow down. Visit Baumgartner versus the United States.
Free speech, you say? Let's talk about Gleichschaltung suppressing the press. Many newspapers disappeared, books were reviewed, justice was gradually replaced by forced choreography of obedience. Radio sold as hotcakes. Volksempfänger launched in 1933 was basic, affordable to have millions hark to Viehort's cadence. Hitler's sharp and prophetic voice was everywhere. In schools, barbershops, or cafes, the youth in brown uniforms marched, singing secret crimes of outstanding. Everybody was spying. A cousin, teacher, brief trigger, or a neighbor. Spies were recruited from every societal layer. Their disturbing past didn't matter in households. Jokes about the Jews that once were whispered now word exchanged with the tenable laughter. Shopkeepers put a sign of white Aryan business, some by genuine passion. Others followed the neighbor's example as neutrality was no longer an option. It was time for expansion.
But Hitler's move was retaliatory, a pride restoration, claiming what originally belonged to Germany. Britain and France had no objections.
In 1955, Hitler took Saarland of France. reversing the Versailles Order.
When Germany hosted the 1930 Olympics, the world saw his stateship as firm but fair. Chamberlain's appeasement allowed Germany to annex Czechia Sudetenland.
And in 1939, Hitler advanced, reclaiming Danzig of Poland.
Well, in 1939, Slovakia turned to him for help in achieving independence. Hitler summoned the Czech Prime Minister to Berlin, putting Slovakia under the German reign. Marching in Prague, Hitler met no resistance, nor were objections from France or Britain. In September 1939, the German troops invaded Poland. A fast and absolute triumph.
Yeah, the threat of World War II was in Germany. It was Japan who in 1905 had defeated Russia. In 1922, under the Naval Reduction Treaty, the USA had handed a naval superiority to Japan in 1931. Japan, unapologetically fierce and brutal power lacking natural resources, invaded Chinese Manchuria, a land rich in coal, precious minerals, and fertile green fields. The League of Nations was powerless to defend Manchuria, and Japan went on conquering more pieces of China. Back then, Italy produced Renato Mussolini, a war veteran and journalist who pledged to take the country's dignity back from the failed democratic state. Under his watch, corruption was eradicated, the mafia more or less eliminated. Hitler admired Benito as a purposeful ruler who aimed to recreate the Roman Empire. Mussolini installed advanced air force, launched a powerful navy, larger than the combined might of British and French fleets in the Mediterranean. His first land grab was Abyssinia,
Ethiopia.
tearing gas bombs, a prohibited act by the treaty. Economic sanctions on Italy were ineffective. Britain and France remained neutral. A weak democracy gave rise to another dictator, General Francisco Franco of Spain, who gained prominence during the Red War in 1906, military uprising in Morocco, and the naval blockade. Franco turned to one person he knew might help, Adolf Hitler. Soon after, Hitler sent Lufthansa to take Franco's embattled troops back to Seville, Andalusia.
I don't follow the points you make defending Hitler.
I am just sober, not hating the Nazis. Can ask you a US citizenship lead to deportation? But no one is punished for sympathizing with Mussolini, Hirohito, Tsuyoshi, or Franco. Sure, Hitler was responsible for global disarray and murders, but he was unselfish.
I am just sober. Hitler's ideological compass was restoring his nation's dignity and welfare. Which part of Hitler's worse than that of those villains who killed this author's career? Pushing a single mom to 15 years of uncertainty and struggle for basics to maintain. With no siblings, no one to talk to, she was an unsettled isotope floating in mighty dark space. Naira was raised by elegant and intelligent parents with whom her daily talks were around scientific facts, logic, dignity, and reason. In the US, she was destroyed by stupid but super confident and sadistic ruffians who can offer no facts, who speculate and scream to sell nasty lies. Her US experience is crueler than Majdanek or Auschwitz gas chambers. What was the moral compass of those bandits if not vandalism and boorish lawfare? They do not even have class or credentials to be her rivals. Their attorneys, the moralization, and the degree of their pure malice without a cause make Hitler look like a saint. Which part of Hitler is worse than that of the TikTok generation, who watching a person drowning does nothing to help? Instead, they take joy in videotaping a slow death to make revenue from their shared content. Hitler, at least, was thinking of empowering his nation.
And real goes on and on, unfiltered. I feel disarmed by love for a traitor when I pull her to my chest for a kiss, her breast while it falls loose open. Bending a picket from the floor, I see the swastika patch detached from her hip, a fake tattoo. Thrilled I asked, and the most staggering comes when I see her ID.
Ruth, babe. Your name is Ruth, a Jew.
Precisely right.
Then why did you play a fake Nazi surrogate?
Sometimes I do so to provoke a fervent debate.
It wasn't funny.
Yet I tested your virtue now. I'm yours, and you're mine.